Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner and lead instructor for CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record every Mondays at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time. If you enjoy the channel, please hit that like button and also subscribe to the channel. Turn notifications on and you will get an email link with this full episode. And if you want to submit to this show, take a look at the information in the description.
I do. So we're playing 1-3 at Jack Casino in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Effective stacks are 600, and that's me.
Okay.
Our villain has over 3,000 somehow. I open with King of Clubs, King of Diamonds under the gun to 12.
All right. So under the gun, King of
villain in
Diamonds,
the-
King of Clubs, under the gun. How deep were you again? I'm sorry.
600.
600. Okay.
Villain is in the cutoff and calls, and both blinds call.
Okay. Is that about a standard open size, basically, to 12, which is about 4x? Is that right?
It was a pretty deep table, but for the most part, people usually raise between 4x and, occasionally somebody will use the classic 3 plus 1 for every limper in the pot. So usually you're not seeing a pre-raise or a pre-flop raise over 20 or 21.
Okay. So we got 4 people in the hand. The pot's like, what, just under 50, $48. You've got kings, King of Diamonds, King of Clubs, and we go to the flop.
Flop comes King of Hearts, 7 of Diamonds, 7 of Clubs.
King of Hearts, 7 of Diamonds, 7 of Clubs. That's a pretty good flop for you, huh? That's a pretty
I
good
was
flop.
pretty happy about it.
So you flop top full house here. And obviously there's multi-way. It's a rainbow board too, right? Heart, diamond, club.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of, there's not a whole lot of draws out here. I'm not exactly sure what you do, but sort of my take in sort of low stakes games, which obviously this is, there's not really like a need to balance all that much. I think that this is one of these spots where, I think you could check sometimes. The issue here is that whenever you flop like aces full or kings full, if someone doesn't have a 7 here and you block a lot of the top pair types of hands, it's not like you're going to allow them to catch up all that much by checking. With a couple of exceptions, you could check through and somebody could hit an underfull with a pocket pair on turn, or you could check through and an ace could come and they wouldn't be able to get away from it. But I tend to just kind of default bet small if I want to slow play, basically. I assume it got checked to you?
Mm-hmm. It did get checked to me, and I bet 20. I debated slow playing it because the villain has shown that if you use the pre-flop laser check to him, he will sometimes bet the pot or more. But I just decided, you know what, if he doesn't have a 7 or anything, I'm not going to get any value here, so let's just try and build early. So I bet 20. Villain called in the cutoff, and the blinds folded, so the pot's at 88.
Yeah, so, one thing about that, though, too, that could be the case if you're heads up, but then you're dealing with 2 guys in the blinds, too. So I even if you're dealing with an aggressive player, I don't think that checking is just going to suddenly, he's going to start bluffing into 3 people when somebody in the blinds could easily have a 7 here. They're never folding a king. So, different situations, different board textures. So you bet 20 and he calls, right? The blinds fold.
Yes.
Okay.
He calls, blinds fold.
Yep.
Turn comes the 2 of Hearts.
2 of Hearts, so it puts a backdoor heart draw out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which I was actually pretty excited about. So when it came to sizing, I was like, all right, I want to get some more money in there, but what will a heart draw call? So I went for about half pot and bet 45.
So hero bets 45. Just one quick note about what you're saying, backdoor heart draw. Here, because the king and the deuce are hearts, it's basically impossible for him to really have a heart draw. This hand, when you emailed this in, this is all about positional awareness. It's really hard for him to ever have a heart draw out here when the king and the deuce are hearts. There's a skill in sort of reading the board with backdoor flush draws. If the king wasn't a heart, if it was king 7-7 where the 7 was one of the hearts, right? Then he could maybe have king X of hearts. But he called next to act with 2 people behind him. There's no straight draw out there. There's no flush draw out there. The only way he has a heart draw is if he's got trip 7s anyways. So I don't think it's all that relevant with the backdoor heart draw. What I will say, though, for the same reason that I said that I don't think that he was going to just start indiscriminately bluffing at this particular board because the people were in the blind, he called next to act, right? Now, I know you bet a little bit small, but that should mean that he should at least have a king here. I mean, I don't know how wild this guy is, but this board's such a super static board that, I mean, I don't know if he's calling with Jack 10 of diamonds, but it's interesting to note you bet 45, and it's really hard to screw this hand up, right? There's nothing really that there's nothing wrong with doing that, but what I will say in these situations is sometimes to get some more money in the pot, I would actually go for a check raise here because he called next to act. It's different if he called last to act and he could be wide, but because of your stack sizes, if he just goes call, you're not going to necessarily get all the money in. And if you make a check raise small, a guy's not folding off a king anyways, and it allows him sometimes to have some bluffs if you think he's really, really, that wild. Or I think you just bet the pot. So I actually like a check raise here, or I go bet huge, because what is the difference? Like, what do you think he called the flop with? What do you think his flop calling range here is when he calls next to act?
That was the interesting thing. I had played with him for about a half an hour, and he was calling any flop bet with just about any two cards, which is why I opted not to check it. I was like, he's going to call anything. So if I go small and maybe we can get the blinds in there too, we can build a decent pot.
I mean, well, I mean, I understand where, but I mean, what is people in again? I'm in the live chat. People are saying 7, 8, 9 of hearts, 8, 6 of hearts. I don't know. I just don't. With the two guys behind, I mean, that's such a small portion of the range. I just think that positional awareness is very, very important in this hand, where he should have a king or a 7 here a ton. Mm-hmm. So if I were to tell you that he's got a king or a 7 here, I think that the best way to actually going about playing and getting the most amount of money in the hand is betting either very large on the turn or actually going for a check raise. I don't know if I would take this in between sizing, but okay, you bet 45. Yep.
I bet 45. He called, so we're at about 175. And the river brings in backdoor hearts with the 10 of hearts.
Okay. Again, I really don't feel like at 1-3 that the hearts here are going to be that relevant. First of all, he's not supposed to. I know maybe he was calling with a lot, but he's, if you guys in the chat are trying to figure out the optimal backdoor continues, that's irrelevant in this hand if you're trying to play it that way, because you would never call here with two people left to act behind you. Guys in the chat, you know what I'm saying? So people are saying 8, 6 of hearts, ace, jack of hearts. Those are never supposed to be calls with two people behind. That's why I don't think the hearts are really all that relevant. As played here, it kind of sucks that the heart comes in for you on the backdoor side, because I feel like if you check here, some kings might just check back. You never even know. Some 7s might just check back too. I would just continue to plow through here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he really should never have a flush here. Make it look like you're trying to buy the pot. I might even go like 250 here, but this is where I would shape the hand a little bit different on the turn. So what did you choose to do here?
Yeah, I opted to go relatively big. I bet 125, and he snap called.
And then did you find out what he had here?
He showed the 7 of spades. He didn't show the other card.
So he had a 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Shows trip 7s. That's interesting that he didn't raise the turn, right? So he's slow.
That was my thought.
Yeah, he's slow playing the flop. Well, I mean, just people like to slow play and then they'll raise turn. And I wonder if you got really unlucky where he was going to raise the river. Like, say the river is an offsuit 4 and you bet 125 here. Like, is he going to raise? You might have just gotten really, really unlucky. But I like this hand here because I think it demonstrates positional awareness in the sense that when next to act calls in a multi-way pot on basically a lockdown board, you can really, really peg this guy's range. Now, I realize that you did bet a little bit small, but I think you can throw all those backdoor defense out. He shouldn't have those, and I don't even think he has those in this particular situation. So that's why once somebody has a king or a 7, if you check to them on turn, they're going to bet and they're not going to fold to a check raise. That actually might be the best line. Or if you're up against some nit pot controller, just blast. I know it looks weird to just go like pot with kings full, but if they're not going to fold the king and they have some 7s in their range, so be it. You know what I mean? But thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.